For decades, Denmark was viewed as a low-drama NATO member on the northern fringe. It was a nation focused on trade, shipping, and limited peacekeeping operations. But that era is now over. Denmark is executing a fundamental shift in posture, leveraging its control over the Baltic approaches and the vast strategic depth of Greenland to become a critical component of North Atlantic defense. With a new 10-year defense agreement and spending surging toward the NATO target, this is not mere modernization. It is a return to hard deterrence. The Danes have recognized their unique geography is no longer a passive asset, but a contested frontier. The Danish strategic position has become priceless. For years, the Kingdom of Denmark, which includes Greenland and the Faroe Islands, was seen as a quiet rear area. That perception collapsed once great power competition shifted north. Through its territories, Denmark controls the airspace and sea lanes that form the key approaches to North America. This includes territory hosting critical US and NATO missile warning radars in Greenland and access to emerging Arctic sea routes as the ice melts. Russia has been militarizing the Arctic, while China has openly signaled interest in becoming a near-Arctic power. Both trends force NATO to take Denmark's position seriously. Denmark has moved from a peripheral NATO player to a strategic gatekeeper. Denmark's geography just became one of NATO's most valuable assets. To support this new reality, defense spending has surged, effectively ending the low-threat era. After Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Denmark signed a defense agreement running to 2033. It commits Denmark to spending at least 2% of GDP on defense by 2030, utilizing acceleration funds to front-load spending into the mid-2020s. With these extra funds, Danish defense spending is expected to temporarily approach or even exceed 3% of GDP in the coming years. The new money is specifically earmarked for integrated air defense, Arctic and North Atlantic surveillance, and rebuilding munitions stockpiles. Politically, this is framed not as minor upgrades, but as a fundamental shift. The focus has moved from expeditionary missions to hard deterrence in the Arctic, North Atlantic, and Baltic regions. For Denmark, this isn't just an upgrade. It's the end of the low-threat era and the start of a long-term rearmament cycle. In terms of air power, the Royal Danish Air Force is undergoing a transformation that turns it into a northern strike power. Denmark decided to replace its aging F-16 aircraft. Initially, the order was for 27 jets, but in a significant move in 2025, the government decided to acquire 16 additional aircraft, bringing the total planned fleet to 43 F-35As. These jets plug Denmark into a broader Nordic F-35 cluster, with Norway and Finland also operating the F-35. This creates one of the densest concentrations of fifth-generation aircraft in any region of the world. Operationally, the F-35 fleet gives Denmark stealthy strike and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capability across the Baltic region and Western Russia, from bases in Jutland. They provide a platform that can integrate with US and other NATO fleets in combined operations, surviving inside contested airspace that older jets could not penetrate. Denmark is already deploying these assets on NATO air defense and air policing missions. As Denmark ramps up Arctic surveillance, these jets are expected to backstop the missile warning network based in Greenland. For the first time in its history, Denmark has a stealth strike fleet that can operate alongside the world's top air forces. The Royal Danish Navy is being rebuilt for high-intensity conflict. While small in number, Its major surface combatants are highly specialized for modern warfare. The Ivar Huitfeldt-class frigates represent the centerpiece. These are large air defense frigates equipped with SM-2 and ESSM surface-to-air missiles, launched via U.S. standard vertical launch systems. They carry advanced radars giving them area air defense capability, allowing them to protect entire task groups. These ships are often cited as among the most cost-effective air defense frigates in Europe thanks to their high capability-to-price ratio. Complementing them are the Absalon-class frigates. Originally designed as flexible support ships, these are hybrid vessels used for command, logistics, anti-submarine warfare, and amphibious operations. They feature a large internal flex deck that can carry vehicles, troops, or interchangeable mission modules. Beyond the Baltic, the Navy is focused on Arctic and North Atlantic presence. Denmark fields dedicated Arctic patrol ships designed for ice, long-duration patrols, and sovereignty missions. New defense packages include additional Arctic-capable ships, maritime patrol aircraft, and strengthened naval infrastructure around Greenland. The strategic effect is dual-pronged. In the Baltic Sea, Danish frigates help protect sea lines of communication. In the high north, patrol vessels make Denmark a frontline maritime actor in an increasingly militarized region. With just a handful of high-end ships and dedicated Arctic patrol vessels, Denmark can defend Baltic shipping lanes and project power deep into the North Atlantic, at a fraction of the budget of larger navies. Denmark is also quietly becoming one of NATO's key Baltic defenders. The country serves as one of the framework nations for NATO's multinational division North, with headquarters in Latvia and Denmark. This command coordinates land forces for Baltic and Nordic defense, specifically focusing on Latvia and Estonia. Danish troops are part of NATO's enhanced forward presence, deploying on recurring rotations to the Baltic states with mechanized infantry and supporting units. Over time, these rotations create a near-continuous Danish presence on the eastern flank. In the air, Denmark has been a regular contributor to Baltic air policing since the early 2000s. Geographically, Denmark's own territory, Jutland, Zealand, and the island of Bornholm, sits at the entrance to the Baltic Sea approaches. Any Russian naval activity in the Baltic or around Kaliningrad immediately runs into Danish-controlled airspace and waters. From command headquarters to rotating battle groups, Denmark is now baked into every layer of NATO's defense of the Baltic states. Russia cannot move in the Baltic without running into Danish forces or their allies. Of course, equipment alone does not create military power. Denmark needs people, and here the approach is shifting. The return of conscription is being modernized. Denmark never fully abolished conscription, but for years it relied on small intakes and short service periods. Recent defense deals explicitly expand and modernize the system. The plan involves increasing annual conscript numbers from roughly current levels to around 7,500 per year by the early 2030s. The standard service period is being lengthened, moving from a short basic to a duration that can sustain operational units. Crucially, Denmark is moving to gender-neutral conscription, formally bringing women into the system rather than relying on them as volunteers. This puts Denmark among the very few NATO countries moving in that direction. This expansion is tied directly to building the active army and strengthening reserve forces and the Home Guard. While other European militaries struggle just to find volunteers, Denmark is quietly expanding a modern, gender-neutral conscription system to rebuild mass, not just technology. Perhaps the most unique element of this transformation is the Arctic Command. The Joint Arctic Command, headquartered in Nuuk, turns Denmark from just another small NATO state into a key Arctic security player. The command is responsible for Greenland and the Faroe Islands, handling missions that range from sovereignty enforcement to environmental monitoring. New defense packages include major investments in enhanced radar and sensor coverage across Greenlandic airspace. This includes maritime patrol aircraft to track ships and submarines, upgraded Arctic patrol vessels, and drones for satellite-based situational awareness. The U.S. early warning radar sites in Greenland are a critical part of North America's missile defense and space tracking architecture, making Danish-controlled territory a core node in the alliance's warning system. Denmark's Arctic Command is its strategic trump card, controlling territory and sensors that both Russia and China care deeply about, but which ultimately sit inside NATO's security architecture. Rearmament requires a revitalized industrial base. Years of relying on foreign suppliers left Denmark with limited domestic ammunition production, a vulnerability exposed by the war in Ukraine. Copenhagen has responded by reactivating and expanding ammunition plants on Danish soil, including facilities that were previously dormant. The government is signing long-term contracts for domestic production of artillery, mortar, and small arms ammunition to rebuild stockpiles and reduce dependence on external suppliers. At the same time, Denmark is deepening Nordic defense industrial cooperation. Joint projects on drones, precision munitions, and F-35 sustainment are being developed with Norway, Finland, and Sweden. Denmark is positioning itself as part of a broader European push to ramp up war-relevant production capacity. Denmark is quietly shifting from consumer to contributor, reopening ammo lines, locking in long-term contracts, and tying its small but advanced industry into a wider Nordic war production ecosystem. In less than a decade, Denmark has pivoted from a nation comfortable with a minimal defense posture to a strategic linchpin for the Arctic and Baltic. By combining high-tech acquisitions like the F-35 and Iver Huitfeldt frigates with a revitalized conscription model and deep allied integration, the Danes are punching well above their weight.